Welcome to Rat Girls Podcast. I'm Abigail Jensen, and today I'm joined by my friend Hannah Shapiro. She's a comedy writer, podcaster, and was runner-up on Survivor. Hannah, welcome.
Thank you. I was also, most importantly, your neighbor.
My neighbor!
Yay!
That's how we met. You know, you're my third guest in a row that I just met in the streets of WeHo.
That's very funny. Our dogs,
Introduced
first
us.
you were obsessed with my dog, and you kept saying things like, I'd like to steal your dog, I want a dog. And then you got a dog, and it was the least surprising evolution of that conversation.
Well, at first I was like, if you ever need one, like literally first time meeting you, just loved your dog and needed a dog fix, and was like, if you ever need anyone to watch your dog, which I realized came off creepy because you were like, are you like a professional dog watcher? Like, no, just
I think
a woman.
I did ask. I was like, are you a rover? And you were like, no, I just really want a dog. But it was so great. My dog is wonderful.
The best.
She's also a little reactive.
We love.
And
Sweet.
yeah, I've learned so much about reactive dogs through having a reactive dog.
Interesting.
So I don't know if you ever look in the camera. If you're listening and you ever see a dog acting kind of crazy, before you think the owner must stink, first, think, maybe they're dealing with a really difficult reactive dog. And let me make sure, obviously, if they're off leash or if they're being irresponsible, but I have had to have a lot of patience having my little pup.
Yeah, and you're like, trust me, I am just doing my best, and I want the best for her. Like,
I try so hard. Yeah, we do positive reinforcement training.
Great.
She's also a fluoxetine pup.
Because I'm on fluoxetine. Wait, is that Prozac?
Yes.
Okay, generic.
And because she had extreme separation anxiety. And I was working with a trainer and a vet, and they said, hey, you should consider fluoxetine. And while I was thinking about it, a neighbor told me it would be like drugging a baby. So I waited, and I didn't listen to the professional. I listened to a judgmental neighbor.
What was their reasoning for that?
Their dog wasn't as anxious. It's
like judging your dog's mental health.
Yes. Basically, I'm on here to promote to not judge the mental health of anxious, reactive dogs. That's why you invited me on.
And it's very important. Thank God.
That is how we met, though.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have a lot in common. I remember my boyfriend being like, oh, wow, you two are very similar.
Very similar. We love our reality shows. I just learned you're a Buffy fan.
Yeah, Buffy was... one of the original shows I love, and I've been guesting on a friend's podcast called Shit 90s Shows Taught Me. It's two friends, they're watching Buffy for the first time.
I love.
And they're under the umbrella of Rob Has a Podcast, which is where I've usually podcasted. But shout out to Rob, the head of Rob Has a Podcast. You can catch him on the next season of The Traitors. He's off filming in Scotland now.
Wait, it's Rob from Survivor?
Rob from Survivor. And I'm so excited for my friend because when I left Survivor, and we'll get into it, this was like a decade ago, I felt so public, but also like I had no voice. Everyone knew me from this very limited thing.
Right.
And Rob kept inviting me on his podcast, and I felt like I had a voice. And so he's one of my oldest Survivor friends. And now he's in some castle in Scotland.
And people are pumped about him, too.
They should be. He's funny. He's, snarky, but, kind.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy for the podcast, too, because I think it's gonna expand to new markets. People are gonna love Rob. Watch him be the biggest villain. And then in the news clip about how hated he is, they cut to this podcast being people are gonna love Rob. No, they are. He's great. His kids are great. His wife Nicole's great. And yeah, that's what I thought before Survivor, that podcasts were 5 minutes. I thought they were a song. And then I learned, no, we're
deep
longer.
diving.
But I love Buffy, and it's been so fun. They have no clue what's happening next.
Oh my God.
It's so fun to go on there and just giggle.
Were you an Angel or Spike girl?
I was a Spike girl. You know what? I don't think that's surprising.
I think anyone into dark romance or Vampire Diaries, the bad boy.
I was gonna go with mental illness. You framed that much better. I think the balcony scene with Spike was a bit of a sexual awakening. Was it not?
Mm-hmm. No, totally.
Spike, definitely Spike. But yeah, I think I really related to Willow. Shocking.
I was telling Jesse, I think that's the first ever like eating out on television, like of two women. I don't know for sure.
I don't know. You go into the history books.
But when like Tara eats Willow out.
What are you talking about? I thought I forgot it, and then I thought, just lie.
Just lie.
And then I realized now I'm very gullible.
No, when she eats her, I swear.
What are you talking about? They wouldn't even let them kiss until an episode.
Are you serious?
Until the body, they weren't allowed to kiss. They did have witchcraft, where an O formed around them, and it represented an orgasm. But what are you talking about?
Maybe I'm misremembering.
Am I a bad Buffy fan?
No, I literally...
Are there listeners being like, this fraud?
No, okay.
When does Tara eat Willow out? What are you talking
Sorry, it's implied during the song All the Way. I don't know. This could be false info. I just always remember that I was like, she was eating her out or something. Maybe I just made that up. Or maybe it's honestly more likely I read that in a fan fiction.
What have you found? You've been Googling. I haven't grabbed my phone yet. I need to know if...
I don't know. This one is a different Reddit thread.
I'm so relieved. For a second, I thought...
During the musical episode. That's what I thought.
I mean, she lifts magically off the bed.
Yes. Is she not eating her out then?
I don't think so.
Someone tell us.
If you're listening, please screenshot the moment we're debating right now. Yeah. The networks didn't want them to even kiss, and I know Whedon, I know everything. But I will say that in as a sort of FU to the networks, Whedon made them do witchcraft instead of sexual things, but he made the sexual things, the witchcraft, I mean, so sexual that it was more sexual than any kiss. So they do this spell where Tara has to like ground Willow, and she lifts up and an O forms around her.
To represent orgasm.
All because the network said we don't want two women kissing.
Wow.
And then apparently later she gets eaten out, and it was not in my episode.
I'm guessing that was my fan fiction, because I have dabbled in Buffy fan fiction before. And...
Please send me the fanfic.
I will, and maybe when they go back and remake the show, they'll add some women on women eating out to it.
I'm sure that'll be most of the remake. You heard it. You heard it here first.
Women will
Hollywood news.
Yeah, they will be eating each other out. The demons are the patriarchy, and then the solution is women orgasming. Mm-hmm. Great.
Amazing.
So what if you are going back to school?
I am. It's a bit of a story, but yeah, I'm going back. I start USC in the fall. I'm going to become eventually a licensed therapist, maybe licensed sex therapist.
Love it.
I'm going back to get my MSW, Master's in Social Work. You can get licensed through that. And I'm really excited.
I'm so excited for you. And when you are like a sex therapist, we'll have to have you back on to talk about sex.
Look, I would love to come back on. I was at a party recently and I was sitting next to a girl who just started opening up about her breakup. And I said, look, in 3 years, I'm going to be a therapist.
Come back then.
Come back then. I don't have the right answer for you now.
Also come with money.
Yeah, it actually started. So like you said, a decade ago, I was on Survivor. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about a lot of what we're going to talk about today with Love Island and parasocial stuff, to be clear, I don't currently think I'm some like, most people here will be Googling who I am. But it gave me a very specific experience where like all these people reached out to me that never would. And on the show, I had a panic attack. And all these people reached out and sent me messages about their own experiences with anxiety. And I just... in a weird way, I feel like all that led me to want to become a licensed therapist.
Cool, yeah.
Because when you have like hundreds of people reaching out about anxiety, you want to be able to do something.
And tell them something and like help them feel seen.
Yeah.
Which I would imagine you did help them feel less alone, like just seeing other people go through it.
I hope so. And I was able to lead some people to resources. Other people, this is so embarrassing. It was 2016, so don't judge me. I didn't realize Instagram messages could expire. Oh. So some of the messages did expire. I think I carried that guilt with me till today.
Don't.
But it meant a lot that people reached out. And a lot of going back to school is I really would like to talk about mental health and reality TV and a lot of that stuff where right now I don't, I have part of it and we'll talk about it, but I want the education.
You have
Plus I just love school, so it'll be great.
That's great. I love when people like to use their brains because I don't. And we need people who do to offset AI.
I really like classes. I'm really excited to do it not at 19 when you would do college and it's wasted on.
You don't
unless
appreciate
you're listening
it.
and you're 19. It's really wasted. You're trying to figure out how not to read your stuff. And now all I want to do is like read and learn and get educated on it.
Which is incredible. And you already have your real life experience and then you'll have the like practical / like theoretical experience. Is that what you...
There are classes and then there's a practicum. Okay. So they really throw you into it. I don't know what to expect though. I haven't started. I am, just disclaimer, I'm not a therapist or social worker or anything like that. It was nice though when I posted about this decision, a lot of social workers in the field were like, welcome to the field. And that was really cool. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I have to imagine social workers are like the best, kindest people in the world, so they're probably like open arms, like hell yeah, like anyone new, we love it.
I'll let you know when I meet them.
I can't wait.
I'll come back and be like, they're assholes.
Well, since you are a licensed professional therapist,
let's approach the rest of this podcast like that.
Well, our main cheese of the week is Love Island and like the parasocial relationship people have and like the mental health aspect of the Islanders.
I want to say thank you for inviting me on to talk about this. A lot of it has come because I texted you like 10 texts in a row and you responded kindly and were also like, do you want to just come on and talk about it? Because you kept texting. I kept texting you paragraphs. You want to passionately.
That's like my friendship with everyone right now. Like, so like that is so normal and I'm texting you equally. Like, especially when I saw that like Survivor crossover TikTok with Love Island because they're both being filmed in Fiji.
Currently. Survivor season 50 and Love Island. And I saw Ariana claim that some Survivor contestants claim they can see the lights because there's no air pollution, which would be hilarious.
Can you imagine? I can cut this, but like I can just imagine Coach like thinking he's hallucinating.
But oh man, that's gotta be, no, you don't have to kind of, maybe Coach is somewhere on an island hallucinating, thinking he's, seeing the spirits and it's really just Love Island. And Christian Hubicki's like trying to explain scientific reasons for neon lights in the sky.
It's just the Islanders kissing and like the lights during their games.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. We'll get into it. Last night when those two, when Olandria and Nick went off somewhere, I was like, they're going to Survivor. They have to bring them. What a fun crossover.
And unfortunately, I do not think they are the Islanders that would do well on Survivor. Ace would be.
Ace would be amazing on Survivor. Gosh, is there anyone else who would be really... I think
Huda could be like an agent of chaos, like on Survivor.
Yeah, I mean, if she's struggling on the Love Island with breakfast, like her uncooked pancakes were an issue. I'm not sure.
She's not gonna eat bugs to survive.
But yeah, this is how it all came about. I just wouldn't stop texting you,
which I love. I support, and I'm here for.
And look, it's not. I can recognize that this is escapism. That like part of the reason I think people are getting so parasocial with this season is because it's escapism and they want it to feel parasocial. That's why it's on every night. That's why you vote. That's why, people take over these contestants' social medias. Totally. They're really active.
It feels like our little Sims.
Yeah, our Sims, which is one of the things we texted about.
Yeah.
The Sims, where you're like, I want them together.
Totally. I control their fate.
Yeah, put them in the hot tub. It's our Sims. And I think that can be really fun. And it can also be a little scary.
Totally.
And I was texting you a little bit being like, this is getting to be a lot. Because for like 5 seconds a decade ago, I experienced like some of the parasocial relationship. And again, some like was a positive experience. Yeah. And I mean, I talked about people's messages about their anxiety and how meaningful that was to like the journey I'm going on next. The journey. I've been watching too many dating shows.
It's a journey. Grad
school isn't a journey. It's just starting. I get to the first day of class. I'm like, I'm so excited for this journey.
I'm not here to make friends.
Yes. But, you know, and there can be a lot of positives out of that. But seeing like the vitriol online, it just really brought me back to some of my experiences. And I was like, we can talk about this.
Definitely.
It gets real weird in both directions sometimes. I think that, like, whatever side of the parasocial relationship you're on.
Positive or negative. Or, like them or don't like them.
Like them or don't like them. Whether you're the contestant or the audience, which is, like, an odd thing to say, but I think it's true. You can get both positive and unhealthy things from that parasocial relationship.
Yeah.
It's odd.
Okay, I just had random anxiety that it wasn't recording. It is.
Okay.
That's just my I stress like 5 times an episode, like, is it recorded? So, like, what are you seeing now that's, like, being concerning? Because Love Island's put out statements multiple times being like, be kind.
Be kind. I think it's interesting when a show puts out statements. I think that it's a positive thing. I also think that the show needs to be careful and take responsibility of how, obviously you want to portray people, you don't want to like hide the flaws that you're seeing, but I think fans were pointing out there was one scene where Huda wasn't even in the room, but we were shown her like reaction to something she wasn't watching. And so if you're making a point to portray someone a certain way, it's a fine line, right?
Yeah.
And
I didn't realize that she wasn't in the scene, but they still cut to her as if she were.
I think someone was pointing out that happened once.
People are like watching this on a level that I am like not even on. Like people's brains operate at a whole different level than mine.
I dipped into the message boards to, you know, be prepared. But I think it's good. I think it's good to put out statements like that. I've heard, you know, rumors of, you know, Peacock in I think Peacock is the Traitors, right?
Yes.
You know, having, you know, mental health people on set. I was told recently by a friend that they are taking care of contestants, which is amazing. And if shows can take care of contestants, like allegedly is happening on the Traitors, and do so well, then that can be the standard.
Yeah.
Both putting out messages about cyberbullying and taking care of contestants when they're out there. But yeah, some of the stuff, obviously part of the escapism is the ability to talk about the show. Like, we're going to joke about contestants.
Right.
And people are free to do that. I think where it crosses a line is where you feel like you know the person so well and you want to punish them for behaviors you're seeing.
Yeah.
And so you go to their page, to the source, to punish them.
Or like to their job and like...
To their job, you contact their... I mean, there's just so much. Or to their family members. And I remember when I was on Survivor, there was this episode, it wasn't even me, it was a friend, and two guys from my season had a not great moment.
Okay.
And people the next day were calling them bullies on their Instagram, but also using homophobic slurs within that.
Oh my God.
And the disconnect to be like... you're becoming it by doing... And it's this feeling, though, of... You know, I gotta punish this person, and it's so odd to watch, and it can happen again with extreme hate or extreme love. Like, I'm gonna go to war for this queen goddess, and also I'm gonna punish this person, and it's so interesting that a show like Love Island, which fuels the parasocial, is having this problem. It's not shocking, but it's upsetting to watch.
I mean, it's very upsetting, and it's also because we think like we know them just in general with reality TV. You're getting a snippet of someone's life as they are, as like, because they're a real person. It's reality, and so you feel like you really know who they are. But especially in all reality shows are very produced, so you can't ever feel like you know someone. But especially in something like Love Island or Survivor, where it's such a controlled environment, you have nothing to do but think about the show the entire day. You have nothing to distract you. On Survivor, you're hungry. Like, that's going to mess with your head. On Love Island, like, you have producers doing things purposefully to get a rise out of you. as on all reality shows, like, we don't know how we would react in these scenarios. So when people are like so judgmental or like throw rocks so quickly, I'm like, I know I would be crazy if they put me in the Love Island villa.
I mean, I want to clarify. I know I do a lot of clarifying. I think that reality TV and the actions of people on it can be interesting discussion points. Like, I know that there has been behavior this season on Love Island that has been bad.
Yeah.
And you can say, okay, there's editing, there's producing, and that is an element, but you can also acknowledge that, like, you shouldn't be using certain language when you're angry in a romantic relationship.
Totally.
You should, and that's okay to discuss that. I think where it is when you cross that line into, like I said, I'm going to go to this person's page or their family member. I'm going to try to punish them.
Yeah, I'm going to ruin their life.
And you've got to, I think the interesting thing to me is it's like there's a blindness to your own behavior at that point too. Yeah. And it's, it's very odd to watch. And I also, I wish it was just limited to people's behavior, but luckily I wasn't on a dating show. Thank goodness.
They tried to kind of give you, they tried to give you like a romantic.
They did. And that's not who I had a crush on out there. But the producer behind the camera, she was who I had a crush on, but that's okay.
They can't show that, unfortunately.
They can't show that. That doesn't make sense to the audience. That's all right. But yes, I wasn't on a dating show is what I was trying to say. I got distracted. Was not on a dating show. Still, my looks got picked apart in a message board once, and I remember that, and that was upsetting. But like, even with the new Casa ladies, you know, the commentary on people's looks, not just to your friend while watching or on a message board, or even like a discussion about the pressures of getting plastic surgery young. There's a lot to say there. But people going to one of the Casa Girls pages and just like being cruel. I happen to have a friend who knows the girl that, like, I mean, if you've seen it, you know we're talking about Vanna. Vanna, I think her name is. I have a friend who knows her and says she's an incredibly sweet girl. And it's just like,
she's going to come out of the villa and see this.
I hope her friends have like deleted or tried to clean up the comments and stuff. Yeah. But there's like a blindness there. There's just like, I don't understand.
There's also a lack of empathy now. I almost feel like, I don't know, I guess viewers and like with Twitter, people, you know, clocking in live and tweeting about reality shows has always like been up and down, like fun and funny, but also has had mean moments. But I just feel like, especially now, like our country in general is just like at an empathy deficit. Like I feel like a lot of people can't look outwards of themselves anymore. And so sometimes I feel like these people watching, like, they're not putting themselves in the other person's shoes and thinking like, when they come out of this villa, what's it going to look like?
Yeah, I know people are on edge. We talked about that when I entered the studio. Everyone's very quick to yell and maybe it's just LA.
I mean, LA's seen a lot recently.
It's been a lot. It's an interesting disconnect. I also find the phrase, because I'm just imagining someone listening to this having put a comment and what the counter argument is of sort of, well, they asked for this. They like chose to go on the show. And I think that's interesting too, because you know to a certain extent what that experience is going to be like. But at the same time, it feels sort of as if you're jumping off a cliff.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like when you go on a reality show. And so you don't really know what you're asking for. Even if you've seen it, you don't put yourself necessarily in the shoes of someone who's being ripped apart for their looks. You think of worst case scenarios and think of how would you handle that. But you've told me your audience is very nice, so I assume nobody listening to this are the people doing it.
I think the people listening to this are just like having fun watching Love Island, like making silly little jokes. Like maybe they're like me who are like shipping their parasocial relationship is like shipping some people they probably shouldn't.
Which is part of the fun of Love Island, though. There are Sims, so where is the line?
Where's the line? Like, I can ship them and be like, they're so cute, but if like Nick and Olandria don't get together, even though the producers really like that last scene, they were really selling me and like making my delusions real. But like I can ship, but I would never in real life be like, Nick and Olandria are together. They're dead to me, you know?
I mean, there's a line, and I think part of Love Island, and probably the contestants, part of the element they do understand is that you sort of become these romantic Sims.
Yeah.
So maybe that is a fun element. It's just, Love Island has gotten really, the American version has never been this big.
Never. They had 1 million people vote for the vote that Jeremiah and Hannah ended up getting out.
Okay.
Which I feel like is like old school reality TV levels.
Or the British version levels.
Yeah.
My history with the show is I've seen some of it. I saw, oh my God, what is her name? She's so beautiful. She's going to be on Perfect Match now, I saw on my Instagram.
Oh, is she from the UK version?
No, the American version. It's the only one I've seen.
Did you watch last season of The American?
I think it was what was the first season of The American?
I don't know. I just started watching The American last season, actually.
Justine, that's her name.
Okay.
Which I don't know what season that is.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen her.
Well, I don't think it's ever been this big. And now there's so many opportunities to like build a reality TV career.
Yeah.
Like I think we're seeing that with Ace, where there's got to be some part of him that knows that the Traitors, the challenge, like he seems more aware of the opportunities, and he has a legit like alliance in the house, you know?
Yeah, which also makes me like, it's funny that he comes off as like really caring about the prize money, because I feel like an awareness would be like the prize money to compare to like what he could get if he's super likable and gets these brand deals down the line is like nothing. You know what I mean?
I wonder though if he's positioning himself to be a finalist of some sort. Because if he's a finalist of some sort, I really think the landscape of reality TV now, which was different than when I was on it a decade ago.
Yeah.
There was some. But now, you know, I had friends who went back for 50, and we would talk about how there will be people on like Survivor Season 50 that are angling for the next decade of their life to be reality TV. I mean, because that's a realistic possibility, you know?
Yeah, it's a career now.
You know, Sari, Parvati, all these big names went on the Traitors. There's the CBS challenge and the MTV challenge. You can make thousands of dollars on reality television. And I don't know. Ace seems like a smart guy. And he seems like someone who's smart enough to realize that. Because I see comments of people being like, well, America's not going to vote for you now. And I can't help but think that he's getting what he needs from this.
He's getting the attention. He's like perfectly villainized, where it's like, it's not like problematic really, but it's like he's a fun watch.
He's a fun watch. And I don't know, wouldn't you rather be the leader of a weird Love Island alliance than like one of his minions?
Than Taylor, who doesn't even like Olandria.
Wait, why do you think that?
It's just, she's just so gorgeous.
She is gorgeous. No, I think she's gorgeous. What's your read on it?
Well, he said in the beginning he wasn't attracted to her.
Oh, I do not remember that comment.
Yeah, he said it to, I forget who. And then now you see how he acts with the Casa girls, and I feel like he's already more flirty.
Like bashful.
Yeah, bashful, flirty, like it's a different vibe. And Olandria's in Casa being like, my man, like, and I'm like, but he is
so beautiful.
So beautiful. And I'm like, but he has 2 girls pairing with him. Like, please explore something, because he is.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing. But it's odd to be on a show where love is first, but there's so much strategy. Like, at least on Survivor, you know the name of the game.
Yeah, it's almost like you wish there was no prize. But then would they just still want to be the finalist?
I don't mind the setup of the show. I mean, it's very produced this season.
Do you feel like people used to be able to be not worse on reality TV, but like more authentically themselves without fear of repercussions as badly? Or
that's a good question.
Or is it more now or not?
I mean, I think now there's way more of a playbook of how to be successful in sort of a reality TV way than there ever has been. Can you be worse? I mean, I don't know, my friend got outed on national television, so people have been bad within my era.
Totally. Have the audiences always been as bad? Because now it feels like we can have like gang up mentality or like mob mentality.
I mean, social media completely changed it. I remember, so I had a podcast series called Just My Archetype. It was about the process of and the feelings behind becoming a reality TV character. It was a couple of years ago, but you can still look it up. It's under Rob's podcast. It's called Just My Archetype. And I was talking to a girl on one episode, Andrea Belke, who's been on Survivor a couple times. And she was on a little bit before social media and during social media. And it's just, there's this direct access you have to people. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced parasocialness too.
Yeah.
Even within just social media. And so when people see a moment, I mean, Twitter, Instagram, there's so many ways to reach actual people. And I think that, I don't know if audiences have changed so much as social media culture, sort of the trial by Twitter and all that stuff. I mean, you can just access people.
Totally. And you can like directly comment on their Instagram now, mean thing. Like you're like, oh, and then they read it. Like Yeah,
it's odd. It's really odd. I had a guy recently who was recently catching up on my season, and he reached out and he was like, you suck so much, I hope you lose, like you are the worst. But I noticed that he hadn't finished it. So, and I won't do this to your podcast listeners in case they want to go back and watch season 33. I just responded with who won the season. And then he responded to that, and he was like, oh, at least it wasn't you, and he was saying all this stuff. And so I responded before blocking him with every winner past the season he was watching.
Yes.
I just spoiled every season.
That's so good.
And then I blocked him. I've learned it's better for my mental health to block before doing this usually. But
well, I think that's like, yeah, because it's hard because it's like, what can the actual like contestants be doing to protect their mental health and their peace?
I mean, and that's the interesting thing that I mentioned about the other side of the parasocial relationship, which is the contestant. The contestant will form parasocial relationships with people they don't know.
Interesting.
And I don't mean like, because I've met Survivor fans and befriended people that are like fans of Survivor. And, you know, I met this girl who really, I guess some of my exit press and the things I said about perception and reality, she said it really helped her stand up to her family and their politics. So that was cool, and we've become friendly. Like I'm not making a blanket statement, but I do think that you can watch sometimes as like a reality contestant starts to care more about the like comments from people they don't know than their own sort of wellness and social circle.
Interesting.
And I think it goes both ways. I think when Survivor 50, for those who don't know, it's like the first returnee season in a while. That means people who were on the show before will return. There were all these seasons that were new player seasons. That's what they call them. And when the cast was announced, there was a lot of anger from some of the alumni who didn't get invited back. Yeah, there was a lot of response from some alumni about going back or not going back. And you can see how the comments that are saying, you know, you definitely deserve to go back, like you're better than anyone, can feed into that. And I'm not saying it did for everybody, but I do think the parasocial can go both ways. And whenever a Survivor person returns, if they reach out to me, my advice is always the same, which is to take breaks from social media, long breaks, and have a therapist not connected to the show.
Amazing.
I always scream therapy at they must think I'm strange at this point. Like, I know other contestants, like, they'll be like, I'm such a big fan, I was on the show now, like, must be like, I'm so excited to watch you, I hope you win. And I'm just like, therapy, please, not connected to the show, take breaks, rely on friends and family.
You have like a handbook.
Yeah, I'm sort of always telling new contestants, hey, your friends and family will just be excited that you're on TV at all. The most recent season of Survivor, this guy, they had some questionnaire before the season started, and his hot take was that something positive about me, so I said, thank you for saying that.
Cool.
And he responded, and I did my usual thing, therapy, your friends and family will be excited. He won the show. He didn't need my advice. I was so embarrassed. Like after, I was like, I hope he really must. Because I was like, your friends and family are going to be so excited to see you on TV. Take breaks when you need, like, go to therapy. And meanwhile, he's sitting on $1 million, happy as can be. Like, he can dive into whatever social media he wants. I think he's back on 50 now. Like, wow. He didn't need me to shout therapy at him, but it's my go-to thing.
Yeah, and also the perceptions go up and down. Like, that's the issue, too. It's like everyone's opinions change always.
And it fades.
Yeah, you can't control it.
Most people listening to this podcast will be like, I don't know who this girl is. And that's okay. And that's great.
Yeah.
And, like, this shit fades. So you need to sort of have a community and a sense of self. It's an odd thing. When you get back from a reality show, it feels like everything on the reality show is shiny and colorful, and everything in your life feels a little duller by comparison. It's just, I don't know what the chemistry is behind that. And maybe it's not this way for everyone. I'm speaking like every single person on every single show feels this way. And it's not an insult to like my life or my friends and family, but it just, this thing became so centered for so long, and you have to like rewire your brain when you get back. And this sort of parasocial relationship on the other side can slow that down, when you need to be like, okay, who do I actually know in my life and who do I not? Because these people will leave once this quote unquote fame has like faded a bit.
Right.
And
it's like, how do I root myself in reality again?
Yes.
And like have things to live for outside of this. So when it does go away, I don't depend on it at all.
I think that's why it's also scary to see some of these comments, because I know some of these people are like, I'm just making a funny comment on someone's social media. But I'm like, some of these people might come out and it might matter so much to them.
Yeah.
What the perception of this thing that was so important and so centered, and that's what they're going to read. And that is a little heartbreaking, I guess.
Yeah. And is there a way, like, for when we see behaviors on the show, like when someone's calling someone like a bitch or whatever, or doing things like that are not okay, and we want to like point it out, and hopefully they like see how they maybe act on the show after and like grow from it. Is there a way to like properly talk about that, I guess?
I think so. Like I said, when we were first talking about it, I wish I knew the exact line.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell every single person listening, this is how you phrase it, and this is when you cross the line. I think that it's really important, as silly as these shows are, I think it's important and cool that we can have conversations based on what we're seeing on TV.
Yeah.
I think that if someone is demonstrating behaviors that are uncomfortable, and I assume a lot of people that felt the need to comment or to talk about it probably have experience with those behaviors.
Oh yeah, but like on the other side of it.
On the other side or within it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure if anything, actually. I'm not going to be like, you definitely have experiences. But no, you probably have. And I think it's cool that we can have conversations. I don't know if Hoot is going to come out to so many think pieces about her. But I don't know if it's think pieces. I don't know if it's message boards. I don't even know if it's that bad to, within someone's social media, be like, hey, here's what I noticed. I think that a line that I would make for myself, I can't prescribe it to en masse, but is, like I said, are you trying to punish this person?
Yeah. Are you trying to hurt them?
That you know this person intimately and you're now trying to punish them by going on and saying this. And I think that's where the line is. And I think for the most part, this is going to be controversial, if you have something super negative to say, you don't need to say it on the person's social media, usually. I don't think.
Some jokes are best between friends. Like, if you have to say it, do it in a private environment.
Yeah, and I also think there are ways to speak about it publicly that isn't directly under this person's page. yeah, chances are the person will see it, even if it's public. I remember, for context, for those who don't know, I had what I would call a quote-unquote growth edit on my dabble in reality television. And so it started off a little rougher. And then, through the magic of reality TV, I grew and I butterflied.
She's a superhero.
I'm a superhero.
She's Wonder Woman.
But on one of those early episodes, I get into an argument with people on the show, as you see in reality TV. Now, I have anxiety. As you do too. Wait, you didn't.
We love it. No, I talk about it all the time.
Like, you and I both have anxiety.
We both have anxiety. Hell yeah.
And when I get in this argument, the two people I'm in an argument with asked me, "Hey, could you give us a minute? Could you give us some space?" And I go, "Great. Let me explain it." And I keep talking. And now I was 24 when I was on the show. I'm 33 now. Again, for the context of the timing. At 24, there were times in my life where I'd get into arguments with people and not understand why they'd get so frustrated with me. I didn't understand. Now, I watched this on national television with 10 million people, and I watched myself argue with these two people, and I thought, oh, I'm being very annoying. My anxiety is so loud, and I remember how loud my anxiety was, that I couldn't hear them saying, "Could you give us a minute? Could you give us some space?" And that's not an excuse for not respecting their boundary, but it is something I was not fully aware of until I watched it back on TV.
Yeah.
And I watched this and I thought, wow, I have been behaving badly at times during conflict because of my anxiety, because I'm not listening, because my brain wants the relief of my anxiety going away, and it thinks it's going to get that relief by fixing the argument.
Totally.
When really, if I step away, there's a better chance the argument's going to get fixed and I'm making it worse.
Which is like totally like a all relationships thing, like anxious attachment thing. Like it's so cool that you could see that and realize that.
So cool. Here's the caveat of how cool it was. Like I said, this happened on national television. So there was a Reddit thread about where all these men were talking about how I remind them of their ex-girlfriends.
Oh my God.
And all these men were projecting their ex-girlfriends. And now look, again, this was not under my social media page. This was on a Reddit thread. Fair game. And I just remember weeping to my brother on the phone, being like, "Oh my God, I'm like so annoying," and all this stuff.
Oh, no.
And there should be a bigger theme or reason I'm telling this story. But I think the experience taught me that a lot of times the conversations being had, the person, that I know at the center, if they have some, spectrum of sanity, might realize that they were wrong.
Yeah,
And after that episode, I did not read Reddit after that, which, again, then people could have conversations about me, and I had a person come up to me towards the end and be like, "Oh, yeah, Reddit's got to come around on you." And I'm like, okay, I wouldn't know because I don't read it. But it was a very interesting experience watching, being the subject of a conversation where I was technically at the center, but also it was people sharing their experiences with this kind of behavior.
People projecting on you a lot.
I almost feel like this contradicts what I said, but I guess I'm telling this not to have a thesis statement of what is right and wrong when it comes to commentary, just to maybe give you, if you're listening, some insight into what it's like being on the other side, where I fully realize, and I have worked in therapy since, on quieting my anxiety so that I don't worsen situations because I can't hear.
Yeah.
And it was a lesson I learned watching myself back, and unfortunately, being echoed on the internet. So when you publicly, not to your friends, not, about reality contestants, you remember that, that contestant might be crying to their sibling later on.
Sad. And
this is not to be like, oh, pity me, but it is. I just want to give insight on what it's like being on the other side of that.
But it is crazy that reality shows live on. Like, people go back and watch your season from 10 years ago, and then they might define you by that moment when you were a fully fledged.
I'm much older now.
Like, you're a different person now in a different environment now.
I'd like to think that I'm a person that, tries to grow.
Yeah.
And so in some ways I'm different, but in some ways, like, I'm not gonna like poo-poo the 24-year-old version of myself.
God, not
like,
at all,
no, I was
totally.
thinking of this recently. I'm like, I mean, it's still a version of me. But yeah, no, it is odd to be frozen in time.
Yeah.
For like my season to come out again on Netflix and be like, yeah, that was a decade ago. And those moments and those choices where I was sleep deprived and really hungry are frozen in time.
But it isn't, getting frozen in time is like interesting. And people
It's
have to
so
remember,
weird.
like for these Love Island people, it is 6 weeks of their life. Like this doesn't define their life. They can grow after, they can change, like they can become new people after this if they want, or they can integrate this version of themselves into the rest of their, like, whatever it is. Like, this doesn't define them.
I'm going to sound 85. They're also so young.
They're babies.
They're babies. I mean, and I know I'm going back to grad school and I'll probably be surrounded by 20-somethings.
Oh my God, I'm dead.
But, God, I was taking a prereq for grad school, Intro to Psych. And apparently Intro to Psych is a prereq for a lot of programs. So it was filled with 22-year-olds. And I was telling a story about when Obama got elected for the first time. And I was in college at the time. And this 22-year-old goes, wait, how old are you? And then I say, he goes, no, I thought you were our age.
Not the gas.
Oh my God, he gasped. He did this to me twice. Another time he was like, when was that? I was in middle school. I'm just like, enough. I had a 19-year-old. I turned 32, I think, during the class, or 31 or something. And so I brought in extra cookies I had for my party. She was like, oh, are you legal now?
Oh my God.
And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, did you turn 21? And I was like, yes, 21.
What a testament to how your skin looks. Like,
I look like
vibes.
the most sleep-deprived 21-year-old. I mean, I always think I was like 14 and 80. Like, not the average, just the two very separate things. I know Matt, my boyfriend, tells me I have to stop calling 22-year-olds children.
But I think of how I was acting.
They're so young.
I acted completely on emotion at that time in my life. I had no tools to like be like, oh, I feel this way, but let me pause and sort through the feeling.
I mean, look, they're adults, and so they are responsible for their actions. I watch these youths. I mean, again, I would never end up on a dating show, so it doesn't really matter.
After speaking on all of this, like, because we've texted a lot about, like, our thoughts on this season. Like, what are your overall thoughts on this season?
I think it's really good.
It's good television.
For what the show, like, what you want out of a show for, like, Love Island, I think it is delivering. I think that the melodrama, the group dynamics that are so complex. Last night, I was watching the episode, and Matt, who doesn't watch with me, just walked past when they were all weeping.
Because of Olandria getting sent home.
I mean, they're getting so much. And the music. Yeah. The original songs are my favorite.
They're spending so much on their music budget.
When they write an original song that perfectly matches the moment.
Oh, you mean those are songs that don't exist? They're like original for songs. Love Island?
Well, some of them are remakes of pop hits, but some of them I swear are original songs.
Whoa.
Where like it'll be like when she walks away. Like
when he hands her breakfast and she throws it in his face.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've talked about how we think it's for what you tune in for. I have seen other versions of American Love Island, and it hasn't had this juice. Obviously, there is a problem because it's a bit more strategic that people who seem to be finding actual connections
are going home. Potentially. We don't think Nick and Olandria are actually leaving.
No, they're going to season 50.
Hannah and Jeremiah.
Well, Jeremiah, who, I mean, I'm sure every contestant has, flaws and problems, but seems like a pretty monogamously minded dude. And, the monogamy is sort of poo-pooed, which is funny.
Right, where it's like, you gotta test it, you gotta explore.
You gotta. And it's like the bombshell that came in.
Andrina?
Why would you explore anything else? I mean, she came in.
Have you seen her?
Have you seen that woman? I mean, Shelley, too. I have such a crush on Shelley.
Oh, yeah.
And she's a bisexual, correct?
Yeah,
is that
when she was dancing on Megan Thee Stallion.
I mean, the most bisexual thing she could have done is like dance on.
And Megan was loving it.
I mean, yeah, the women really.
are gorgeous.
The women.
The women are supermodels.
The women.
Like, they could be 90s supermodels. Like, put them next to, I don't even know, like Heidi Klum, and they'd fit right in.
I mean, they're so beautiful. Also, their skills at twerking.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Did you see those tweets that were like, I'm like at home stressing about my twerking skills, even though like I will never be in this situation?
You're like, what if I'm on Love Island and Meg the Stallion is like, twerk on me? I mean, I would be like the guys. I'd have to go pure goof.
Totally.
Her butt just kept moving. And
oh my God, Orlandria's.
Oh my God.
It was like water.
She went slow motion and then it went fast and then it never stopped.
Or Huda's, how she like isolated one butt cheek and then the other. And then when she was like, I have Spanx on her, also had the leg.
Wait, what would you do if you didn't have Spanx on?
I would show the people.
What was the end of that sentence?
I mean, if I had shorts on, I would throw my legs in the air and shake them.
I would not, but because I don't know how to do that.
I don't either. But I was inspired.
So, yeah, you asked me, did I like it? And I just didn't stop talking about the women's butts. This is the parasocial, but this is the fun parasocial.
The stuff
I'm
they
looking
would
at
like.
the camera. This is what we want. Like, it is fun when you're on the show that people are excited, that they cheer or they boo. Maybe not in front of you, the booing, but you know that's fun.
The silliness.
But when someone comes up to you at a party at the end of your season and says, I didn't like you at first, but now I do, how am I supposed to respond to that?
Yeah, thank you.
That's... Why are you negging me? I think that's what's so funny is when you meet people in person and they, you don't even know their name. And like, again, I've met so many lovely people whose names I do not know and like who we're friends with. I think you have to remember that the person you're approaching doesn't know you yet.
Yeah.
I was actually on the other side of this recently. So I'm friends with Sarah Lampert, the creator of Ginny and Georgia.
Okay.
She's very talented and a female showrunner and very cool. And she invited Matt and I to go to play Mafia at her house.
Love Mafia.
Very fun.
Like Traitors.
Yes, like Traitors. I spent a lot of the pandemic. It's how I met my boyfriend, playing virtual werewolf. So
Great.
like I love it. Let's do it. And one of the actors from Ginny and Georgia were there. For those listening, I won't spoil anything, but he plays Mayor Paul.
Okay.
And so I felt like I knew him because I've been watching him on my television.
Yeah.
And the second game, we all closed our eyes, and the two Mafia have to wake up. For those who don't know, you're either bad, you're good.
Right.
You want to just Google Mafia if you're listening. And if you're driving.
Or if you watch Traitors,
Yeah, if you watch Traitors. One time I was listening to a podcast and the host said, this guest needs no introduction, and then didn't introduce her. And I was driving, and I was like, for the first 25 minutes while I was driving, I thought, who the fuck is this woman?
Who was it?
I don't remember. I don't want to list names. I don't want to produce. I don't want to like. But it was this woman was guesting on a segment that usually is just the host and callers, and I didn't know who it was. But anyways, if you are driving and you don't know how to play Mafia, it's like Traitors. If you don't know Traitors, think bad guys, good guys, whatever. And so I opened my eyes because I'm a Mafia, and it's Mayor Paul is the other Mafia, or his name's Scott.
Mayor Paul.
And he nods at me because we're Mafia to acknowledge, and I winked at him. And then I closed my eyes and went, oh no, this man does not know me. And I winked at him because he's Mayor Paul.
That's why I think it's like sometimes good to remember people like are just like the people who are just excited, like to give them like grace.
Oh my gosh,
like,
hilarious!
Yeah, that's just like fun and goofy. Like
no, there are fun and goofy ways, and the world is burning.
Yeah,
and we need our fun, goofy escapism.
We need to get excited about things.
We need to get excited. We even need to get angry. I had a reaction to the way the anger was being.
Yeah.
Portrayed. But what do you think of the season? You're a reality show expert.
I'm a reality show expert. Wow, I love that title. Put it on my gravestone. I love this season. I do wish that the producers were giving them a little more time to like flush out relationships. We haven't had a hideaway visit. We haven't had any dates, which usually they have.
We had one water park date.
Which it was like they're in Fiji and you're sending them to the water park, like not even like the gorge. Let her sit on the beach, her dream date.
It's her dream date.
And he knows that. Cool. Iconic.
I genuinely think Huda, like I did at 24, is going to watch some of their arguments back and be like, oh.
Well, and that's what Jeremiah said on Files.
Yeah.
He thinks she's going to like, he seems to think she's an overall good, like she's going to have hindsight.
She seems like a person who can't lie. I can relate.
Yeah.
And I think if you watch an argument, I mean, imagine arguments you've had. Mm-hmm. If they were filmed and you watch the tapes back, when I watched the tape back of my argument, I thought I was in the wrong. At the time, I did not feel that way.
Right.
I thought I was just being reasonable by constantly saying, I understand, but let me explain. I think there are some arguments they had where you can watch Jeremiah try to, negotiate a peace.
Yeah.
And she will make a statement, and then when he agrees or disagrees, sort of go at him. And those small intricacies, I think she might watch it back if she does and go, oh.
Totally. I think she wears her heart on her sleeve.
Yeah.
And she's going to see, like, that, like, she can feel her emotions on her own, maybe, and then come back once she's, like, process them in a way where she can speak peacefully to someone else and then, like, walk through what she's thinking then. Which is, like, something I didn't know at 24.
Even, like, a very popular contestant now, Amaya.
Yeah.
Who is so sweet.
I love her.
I was watching her when she was in conflict, and even though I think she had fair points and was in a lot of ways in the right, like me at 24, wasn't great in conflict. Like, in terms of letting the other person speak, stuff like that. And that's just stuff that, like,
comes with life, hopefully, if people put in the work.
But you like it, but you want more.
I want more actual romance.
I will say, this doesn't have a lot of romance.
No.
I think it's good because I find the group dynamics and the melodrama to be very entertaining.
Yeah, that's very entertaining.
But I do think it would have been nice if, Hannah
and Pepe.
Hannah went on Two Chicks in the Office. Is that not the name of the show?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And she talked about how, maybe some of Charlie's beliefs and plans after the show didn't align, and that's why she was able to open herself up to Pepe, and that she really liked Pepe. And that's not what the story told. I didn't understand where she pivoted. Mm-hmm. I just thought, oh, she's pivoted.
Right.
And I think, I would have liked, it's hard when you, like, actual connections are going home. Yeah. And Islanders aren't voting out people that don't have connections.
And I feel like we're voting out people more often. And also the girls usually the girls, like, couple up with someone and are in charge of that choice at some point. But they haven't been yet. It's been just the men.
Are you...
Or the America voting.
Maybe this is a bit of a pivot. Do you agree with the theory that Ace is secretly in love with Huda, and that's why...
I did, until Jeremiah went on the podcast, and I think he said that Ace just didn't like him because of something with Yulissa, maybe, in the beginning? I maybe misunderstood that.
When he turned his cheek?
Yeah, I don't know.
Which seems like if you're excited about the girl you have, it seems like a way to be like...
Totally.
Oh, this is a question I know I've asked you, and maybe I'm taking it too seriously. There have been so many blindfolded, don't know who you're kissing. How do you feel about that in terms of consent specifically? Well, wow, that's a very intense question to be asking.
No, I think it's great that you brought it up because honestly, I've never thought of it before because my brain's like so Love Island coded. I'm just like, oh, I'm so in the Love Island world. But like for the guys to agree to be kissing the Villa girls and then them be the Casa girls that they don't even know, I don't like that vibe at all.
I don't like it. I know Beldasha. She obviously was able to consent to not kissing people, so there's some conversation.
Totally.
But it felt icky to me.
It felt icky. I would hope that like that was reality TV magic maybe, and they did tell them beforehand. But I don't know if TJ would have acted his like the way he did.
Yeah, really negging people he didn't know.
Which we love Ariana and her responses.
Oh my gosh. I don't watch some
Vanderpump Rules, which you should. That's my number one reality show of all time.
When I said I didn't watch Vanderpump Rules, you sent me like 3 paragraphs about how it's the best show on television. And I think I can take my phone if I need to. I think you said better than most scripted shows.
Yes.
You were very passionate. I mean, look, I don't know her personally. Wait, most of us don't. I don't know her story.
In my brain, I do with my parasocial relationship.
But I through pop culture, I know the basics.
Yeah.
There was a guy she was married
Tom
to.
Sandoval, and he cheated on her with his
a friend.
best friend. They weren't married, but they were together for 10 years. No, but you would love, honestly.
Her outfits have been amazing. I love Sarah Hyland too, though, to be clear.
I never watched her when she... So the reason I tuned into America last year was, or USA, was because Ariana was the host, and I was like such a fan. And I was like, oh.
Her outfits are incredible.
Incredible. And I was like, thank God that this is what got me into Love Island USA.
Her different hair.
Oh my God. She's gorgeous.
I mean, the only makeup I know how to do is the under eye thing and mascara, and she looks like a different person every time. It's so cool.
Right.
Like with the hair, I mean.
I mean, she's not doing it, but yes, like
yeah, that's true. Sorry,
she's got a team
for
sure.
But she's so
gorgeous.
Beautiful.
She's 40 too. Like she just turned 40, and I was like, she literally every time she walks in, they think she's a bombshell.
Yeah, and
Taylor, that one time when she had the black wig on, he was like, who is it? Which just shows me Hannah Montana could have happened in real life.
With men only. I'm sorry.
Men, they can't tell who a woman is if she changes her hair.
Oh, boy.
I also love
the Supergirl effect, the glasses off.
The glasses off are like, I like girls who are like natural, and it just means they're brunette. Like,
oh my gosh.
The man hair blindness. Are there any lasting Love Island or parasocial thoughts before we get into Send It to the Sewers?
Lasting. I just think that I'm interested as these people leave the villas and stuff and make commentary about the group dynamics, how much that illuminates what we're seeing, because the edit can only follow the storylines as the contestants tell them. It's an interesting thing, right?
Yeah.
It's happening live, but like an episode before. The way Survivor works is they film it and then they edit it. So the story is always, why did this person win? Or in my case, like, why'd they lose?
Totally.
And that's not to like blame edit on anything, but it is part of it. But the story is sort of being told by the contestants, but the underlying thing is group dynamics, right? Like Jeremiah saying, as we can see, Ace sort of runs this little thing.
Yeah.
But also, both in him and Hannah's interviews, that Huda was on the out socially a lot.
Yeah.
And that how that played into the, what people were saying and shown saying. And again, it's not to excuse any behavior, but a lot of the commentary we see is the hierarchy of these group dynamics. You're right. This is not about love. This is
it's Survivor Big Brother.
It really does feel that way with like so much kissing.
Yeah, they're always kissing a lot. My lips would be cracked.
Oh my God. I mean, I hope they're testing every camera person. Like I this year got COVID for the first time.
Oh my God. Well, the cameras, they have like 150 like cameras in the villa, like not even camera people. It's like set up within the villa, like Big Brother.
Do they have any camera crew?
For like challenges they do, but like when they're just chilling in the villa, it's like they're just hanging out.
And they're all sleeping. I saw your Instagram.
Oh, yeah, they're all sleeping in that
They're
one room.
all sleeping in that one room, and it was funny. All the noises. That's way too many adults in one room. It must smell in there, right?
They
oh my
must
God, I'm
smell.
so
No, and be sleep deprived. Like they must be sleep deprived. Probably not sleep deprived as you are in
Ace
Survivor.
liked sleeping outside. Oh no, Survivor you barely sleep.
Yeah, no sleep at all.
Well.
And also probably
some people are.
Worse.
I mean, well, I actually did a research paper on why you stop smelling yourself on Survivor.
Oh.
It's sensory olfaction, I think it's called, and basically, your senses become numb to those around you. It's like an evolutionary thing where, in the past, let's say you're defending your hut, you need to be able to smell enemies coming, so the smells around you get dulled. So. Obviously there's some exceptions if someone's really smelly, but mostly you don't smell yourself in others, but you watch as production starts going further away from you, and you're like, oh, we must smell.
We reek.
But you actually don't smell it that much.
That's true. That must be why, like in romantasy books, the main characters can make out with never brushing their teeth. Because I'm always wondering that. They always mention baths, but never teeth brushing.
Maybe.
And I'm like, maybe they're in survival mode. They're watching out for the enemy.
Yeah. Really think about what you comment on and say, and make sure it's, you hold yourself to the sort of standards you're holding
Them
these
too.
fake Sims to.
Yeah.
I was once a fake Sim.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
Do you ever want to be a fake Sim?
Only if it's Traitors. The dream. Send it to the sewers. Okay, this is the segment of the episode where we rant about something from the week.
Oh, I should have been more prepared.
No,
for
I
this.
actually didn't prepare at all. So this is Love Island related. We were just talking about parasocial relationships, and these are strong feelings that I have. But I'm sending to the sewers the fact no one chose Amaya. Like, I literally had to check myself as I was watching Amaya, like, not get picked when the Casa Boys came in, because I started crying.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what is going on? I think I was like sleep deprived. But I was like, this cute little soul. She's so happy and
So
positive.
passionate.
So passionate. And I don't want anyone not to get picked, but like she's just had consistent like rejection from people.
I think that it's upsetting, not so much the coupling up, because I think, that's the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the way that some of the people seem to have broken down some of her confidence.
Yeah.
Like, there's every conversation she's having now. She's like, is this okay? Is this a boundary? And I think that while some people see it more as, a game and like this, I think she took it really personally, internalized it, and she doesn't know what the audience is thinking.
She's so authentic. It
Yeah.
feels.
I mean, I recognize my younger self in conflict with her, like I said, but I think she's really come around to be like a very upfront and genuine person, and I wish the audience could give her a hug. That's
I know. Like,
that's
we
a
love
good
you.
thing.
Or send her like I saw someone say like wish we could send her tokens like in the Hunger Games. Like you could send contestants tokens like the audience is like rooting for you. Like I wish we could send
Like
her.
a little umbrella comes in and it says
you're a fan favorite. We love you.
It's interesting. I went to her social media. No one seems to be running the page. She's
No
one of
one
the
is.
few people. And so you have one photo and just thousands of comments.
Her photo's like from March.
As different things have happened, which makes me think that she's okay. I guess social media like lack of involvement doesn't confirm this, but that it is more genuine to try to find love because she didn't even set up a social person.
I just think she doesn't even she didn't even know what to expect. I think she's just like kind of here for the vibes, which we love, and I just want her to feel like she can be her full self. Like when that one Casa Boy.
Do you think Zach is it?
I don't know. I actually liked when that one Casa Boy was saying the nice things to her. And she even like cried, and I was like,
Huda's boy.
Huda's boy, and it makes me so sad that she has kind of been so beat down that any kindness made her emotional. I was like, oh my sweet summer child.
Groupthink is probably so strong out there because they're cut off from their social network. You start to form opinions, and it's hard not to internalize that. How old is she too? She's pretty young.
I think she's 24 probably.
Are they
That's
all
what I'm
24?
assigning to all of them. Yeah.
I think the boy that comforted her is 22. Is he not? Am I making this up?
I don't know. I don't even know the Casa Boys' names yet, really. So I definitely don't know their age.
That's a good thing to. Hopefully, I
hope she finds love.
I don't.
Or happiness.
I hope she finds happiness. This is gonna sound. Maybe this is why I like this season so much, even though there's less love. I don't care if any of these 23-year-olds find love. What I want for them is joy. I want.
That is so true. The person you find at 23 is probably not your person. If it is, great.
And if it is, great. But I'm hoping for joy, for more. Yeah. It's been a lot of crying, and the last episode feels like it was set up to just torture people now.
Oh, yeah. The Love Island producers are torturing them and the audience.
Do you think Ace will be happy or slightly peeved that Nick returns? Because now Nick and Olandria, if they return, they have more of a story than Ace.
Yeah, I think he'll be pissed. I just think he wants to be the number one guy in the group.
What do you think he's going to feel when Shelly's 6'8" basketball player
I think
comes
his name's
back?
Chris. I think he's gonna...
That man is so tall and handsome.
He's so hot. I hope he has a little reality check because he feels like he's running the villa now, and that might give him question himself for a second.
Is Shelly going to come back on his shoulders?
I'm dead. I do think Shelley is going to eventually go back to Ace, even though she looks very good with Chris.
Yeah. Do you think they were in a relationship before the show, even though they denied it? Do you think they're secretly married with a family?
I mean, it's so fun to think that they did that and this is all a scam because, like, what a narrative. I do think that maybe they dated. They definitely knew each other. I'm not ruling anything out. How about you?
That's her statement.
That's my statement.
I don't think they were in a full-blown relationship, but who knows if they knew each other more than one follow.
Yeah.
Ace doesn't seem like the guy that if he's into a girl and she follows him or he follows her, that he's just going to, like, never reach out.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like a shy duck.
No, he's in the DMs. And he's like, do you want to come to my dance class on TikTok Live?
Do you think Ace has made the reputation of Short Kings better or worse?
I think he's doing a little bit of damage to the Short King community because he's giving them, like, they have something to prove vibes, you know?
You heard it here first.
Ace is damaging the Short King community.
Oh, man. Okay.
What are you sending?
I feel like mine's more serious.
Is
that all right?
Yeah.
This escapism has been amazing.
We love.
But the world is on fire, and we're getting towards the end of Pride Month, and there has been so many bills against our trans adults and kids.
Yeah, medical care.
And it's trans kids are one of the most vulnerable groups.
Oh my God, yeah.
They have some of the highest rates of suicide.
And now the hotline is gone.
And so I think it's really important to not just send the bigotry to the sewers, but also promote positive organizations that are going to have to step up and take the place of some of these nationally funded places. I volunteer at the Los Angeles LGBT Center.
That's awesome.
It's really fun and easy to train to be a volunteer. I've done the senior lunch rush, which is great.
Fun.
And also the senior pantry.
That's amazing.
And it's really easy. You train online, and you can follow the Los Angeles LGBT Center on Instagram. And organizations like that, even if they have hiring freezes because they're having funding issues as well, are going to be really important resources. So it's Pride Month, and I think it's important to support your local LGBT organization, whatever that looks like. I don't know where your audience is all from. I'm looking into the camera like the audience is going to tell me where you are. So where are you guys from?
Where are you guys from?
But yeah, look up your local organizations. It's often very easy to volunteer.
I love that because I feel like it's easy to, like, wallow in all the bad stuff happening, but if you can just get out there and start even supporting local, like, and even if it doesn't feel like enough to you, like, one person is more, like 101 people or like 1,000. Wait, what am I trying to say? You know, like,
you got this. Whether you're one person or whether you're 100,000 people in the body of one person.
Yeah, like, it's going to, it's all pushing the meter or whatever it is. Like, it's all helping, and I think that's so important.
I think it both helps and it can help you as well.
Yeah, it reminds you there's good.
Taking action, I know that it's really important, obviously, to speak up on social media platforms. I think we also tend to see maybe the same post again and again and again, which is great. It means people are speaking up. But if that leads you to want to take some action, volunteering was really easy and fun.
Cool.
And there are a lot of great organizations, and I know the Trevor Project released their hotline.
Yeah, they're great.
And so there's action we can take. So I'm sending all the anti-LGBTQ decisions to the sewer, but then what's the positive thing?
Offering to the rat hole.
Supporting your local LGBTQ organization.
Yeah. And where can the feral friends find you?
Yeah. Come find me on my Instagram, Hannah Lil Nesson. That's at Hannah Lil Nesson. I'm like 85. I'm like, there's an @ sign. That's
don't forget.
HANNAHLILNESSEN. No one else who comes on this podcast spells out their handle.
You know what? We appreciate it.
I mean, technically I'm on other social medias, but right now they're all offloaded for but yeah, come check me out on Instagram. I've got some comedy sketches that I wrote up there. And usually when I'm on a podcast or something, I promote it there. Any sort of new projects and stuff will be on my Instagram. Yeah. Or I'll just text you and you'll tell your audience.
I would love.
I just want to say thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
You've promised your audience is so nice.
They are. Be nice.
I can't wait to meet you.
Audience.
I can't wait to meet each and every one of you at your homes and your places of work. No, if you, I don't know if anything resonated with what you said. I'd love to meet your audience through the parasocial comments on social. It feels so funny.
Positively.
I know. It feels funny to comment on parasocial and then be like, can't wait to meet you. But no, I really I've loved some of the conversations I've gotten to have by going on podcasts. And I mean, I literally went to the Taylor Swift concert with people who heard me on a podcast, so sad I didn't get tickets, and were like, hey, come with us. And it was so fun.
Oh my God.
So
That's cool.
I really do love meeting people who, spend their car ride listening to some podcast. Reach out if
audience,
any of this
if
resonated.
you have music tickets, concert tickets,
give it to Abby.
Please give it to us.
Abby has talked so much about you guys.
She's say only good things.
I said before I came, I was like, I'm a little nervous to talk about being nice online because that tends to not go well. And she goes, my audience is so nice.
The Feral Friends are so kind, and I'm so thankful. And I'm so thankful you were here to share your experience.
Thank you for having me on.
And talk about Love Island, because that's all my entire brain at this point. Thank you. And bye, Feral Friends. I'll see you next week.
Nice to meet you guys.
See ya. Bye.